What if you woke up in the middle of the Black Death? You wake to a strong scent in the air. The floor is cold stone, and the sound of bells echoes through the city. Opening your eyes, you realize you're on a narrow street, surrounded by old wooden and stone houses. People hurry past, some with their faces covered with cloths. And suddenly you understand, something terrible is happening. You are in 14th century Europe, in full Middle Ages, at the height of one of the greatest tragedies in history, to fish negra. But what was it really like to live in that time? How did people deal with a disease that no one understood? Today, you will find out what it would be like to wake up in the middle of the Black Death. You walk through the streets of a medieval city, perhaps Florence, Venice or Paris. The air is thick, people speak softly, and there is a constant feeling of dread. The alleys are full of filth. Rats, yes, lots of rats, scurry between people's feet. Nobody knows yet, but they are the bearers of death. At that time, medieval Europe was overcrowded and unhealthy. Garbage was thrown into the streets. Sewers were open and baths were rare. The perfect combination for chaos. And suddenly, rumors began to surface. A ship coming from the east brought something invisible. Men fell ill from one day to the next, with very high fevers and black sores all over their bodies. Hence the name. Over the Black Sea, you see carts passing through the streets, full of bodies covered in sheets. Church bells ring every hour. The plague doctors, with their bird-beak masks, walk slowly, an almost apocalyptic sight. These doctors filled the beaks of their masks with aromatic herbs, believing that the strong smell would ward off miasma, the contaminated air that supposedly caused the disease. Today, we know that the real cause was the bacteria Yersinia pestis, broadcast by fleas of times. In fact, some cities believed that the plague was a divine punishment, and they did processions of flagellants. People who whipped themselves in the streets, asking for forgiveness. Meanwhile, the rich fled to the countryside, thinking that isolation would save them, unaware that the plague was already spreading everywhere. You approach a tavern. People speak softly, afraid of attracting bad luck. Some say they were the Jews who poisoned the wells. Others believe it is the end of times. Panic breeds hatred, and hatred leads to persecution. Entire cities expel Jewish communities, believing them to be guilty. But the truth is that no one understood what was happening. Science, as we know it today, was still in its infancy. You realize that you are living in a time when faith is stronger than reason, and the fear is more powerful than truth. The disease spreads rapidly. Between 1347 and 1351, it is estimated that more than 25 million people died in Europe, about a third of the continent's population. Entire cities disappeared. In some places, there was no one left to bury the dead, and the economy collapsed. But paradoxically, the plague also changed history. The labor shortage made workers demand better conditions. The church, which was unable to explain the tragedy, lost part of its authority, and the European mentality began to change, paving the way, decades later, for the Renaissance. After years of despair, the plague began to disappear, perhaps because so many died that the disease simply could no longer find hosts. But the impact was profound. You look around. The streets are still empty, the air heavy, but humanity survived. And from this chaos, new ideas were born, new ways of thinking, of living, and even of face fear. You take a deep breath and close your eyes. When you open them again, you're back in the present. But the feeling remains that of having walked through a time when death was everywhere, and yet humanity continued forward. The Black Death was one of the darkest periods in history, but also one of those that most shaped the modern world. And you, could I survive the Middle Ages? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with a friend. If you want to continue imagining yourself in other periods of history, subscribe to the channel.